Ryan hadn't been on a date in 3 years. Ever since his wife passed away, his entire world revolved around his 6-year-old daughter, Lily. Mornings were school lunches. Evenings were homework and bedtime stories. His life was small, but it was full. His friends, however, thought differently. "Man, you need to get back out there," Jake insisted one Friday night. Ryan laughed it off. "I'm good. Dating isn't for me anymore." That's when they came up with a harmless joke. They secretly created a dating profile for him using an old photo. They matched him with someone and set up a blind date at a quiet downtown cafe. They told him it was just a casual networking dinner. When Ryan arrived and realized what was happening, his face went pale. "You've got to be kidding me," he muttered. His friends were hiding at another table, barely containing their laughter. "Just stay for 5 minutes," Jake whispered. "It'll be funny." Ryan sighed. Then the cafe door opened, and everything changed. The laughter at his friend's table slowly faded, because the woman who walked in wasn't who they expected. She wasn't awkward. She wasn't weird. She wasn't someone to laugh at. She was confident, elegant, calm. Her name was Emily. She spotted Ryan immediately and smiled. Not mockingly, but warmly. "Hi, you must be Ryan." He stood up awkwardly. I didn't know this was a date." She tilted her head. "Neither did I." Silence. Then they both laughed. The tension broke. They sat down. What started as an uncomfortable setup slowly turned into something else. Real conversation. She didn't ask about money. She didn't flirt aggressively. She didn't play games. Instead, she asked, "What's your daughter's favorite bedtime story?" Ryan blinked. No one had asked him something like that before. He smiled for the first time that night. "Cinderella. But we changed the ending. In ours, she becomes a knight." Emily grinned. "I like that version better." From across the room, his friends stopped laughing, because this didn't look like a joke anymore. An hour passed. Then 2. Ryan forgot his friends were even there. For the first time in years, he felt seen, not as a widower, not as a struggling single dad, but as a man. Eventually, Jake approached the table, guilt written all over his face. "Hey man, we should probably tell her." Ryan frowned. "Tell her what?" Jake exhaled. "This whole thing. It was supposed to be a prank." Silence filled the air. Emily didn't look angry. She looked thoughtful. "I had a feeling," she said softly. Ryan's stomach dropped. "I'm so sorry. I didn't know." She looked directly at him. "I know you didn't." She stood up. His heart sank. But then she did something unexpected. She took a small folded paper from her purse and placed it on the table. "My number. Not because of them." She smiled gently. "Because of you." And she walked out. Ryan stood frozen. His friends were speechless. Jake finally muttered, "Well, that backfired." Ryan picked up the paper, staring at it like it was something fragile. Maybe it wasn't a joke. Maybe it was the beginning of something. Ryan stared at his phone for 3 days before texting her. Simple message. "Cinderella is asking if the knight would like coffee." She replied in 2 minutes. "Only if the knight gets to meet the princess." Their first real date wasn't perfect. He talked too much about Lily. She spilled her coffee. They both laughed too hard. But it was real. No games. No tricks. No pretending. Weeks later, Lily met Emily. And when Emily knelt down and asked, "So, I heard you're the real hero in this house." Lily smiled shyly. Ryan felt something he hadn't felt in years. Hope. 3 months passed. Emily became a quiet, steady presence in their lives. She never tried to replace Lily's mother. She never forced her way in. She simply showed up. school recitals, grocery runs, late-night homework meltdowns. Ryan hadn't realized how exhausted he'd been for years, until someone finally shared the weight. But not everyone was happy. One evening, Ryan received a message from an unknown number. It was a screenshot, a group chat, his friends, the same friends who had set up the joke date. Jake had written, "Bro got lucky. Let's see how long she sticks around once she sees the real struggles." Ryan's chest tightened. Had this all started as a bet? Was he just entertainment to them? That night he grew quiet, distant. Emily noticed immediately. "Talk to me," she said gently. He hesitated, then handed her his phone. She read the messages slowly. Silence. Ryan braced himself for disappointment, for anger, for her to walk away. Instead, she looked up calmly. "Is that what you think this is?" she asked. "I don't know," he admitted. "I'm just a single dad with baggage. Maybe they're right. Maybe this won't last." Emily stepped closer. "Ryan, I walked into that cafe knowing it might be awkward. I stayed because you were kind. You were real. You talked about your daughter like she was your entire universe." She placed her hand over his. "I'm not here because you're perfect. I'm here because you're worth it." His eyes filled. For years, he had been strong for everyone else. For the first time, someone was strong for him. The twist. The next weekend, Ryan invited his friends over. Not to argue, not to fight, but to set something straight. When they arrived, Lily ran to the door and excitedly said, "Miss Emily is teaching me how to bake cookies." The house smelled like warmth, like home. Jake looked around awkwardly. "This wasn't supposed to get serious," he muttered. Ryan nodded. It did. He didn't yell. He didn't insult them. He simply said, "You thought it was a joke, but she chose me, and I'm choosing her." The room went quiet. For the first time, they understood. This wasn't funny. This was family. Final emotional moment. That night, after everyone left, Lily hugged Emily tightly and whispered, "Are you staying?" Emily looked at Ryan before answering. "If your dad lets me." Ryan stepped forward. "I'm not letting you go." And in that small living room with flour on the counter and cookie crumbs on the floor, something real locked into place. Not because of a prank, not because of luck, but because two people decided to stay. 6 months later, life felt different. Not dramatic, not flashy, just steady. Emily had become part of their everyday rhythm. Sunday pancakes, movie nights on the couch, helping Lily practice spelling words. Ryan would sometimes pause in the hallway and just watch them. Lily giggling while Emily pretended to lose at board games. And every time one thought crossed his mind, "Don't mess this up." The fear. It wasn't that he didn't love her. He did. That was the problem. After losing his wife, Ryan had promised himself one thing: never let his heart depend on someone again. One night, after Lily fell asleep, Emily found him sitting quietly at the kitchen table. "You're thinking too loud," she teased softly. He smiled faintly. "What if I ruin this?" She sat across from him. "Ruin what?" "This," he said. "Us." Lily finally feels safe again. I finally feel happy. What if I ask for more and it falls apart? Emily didn't answer immediately. Instead, she reached into her bag and pulled something out, a folded drawing. It was from Lily. 3 stick figures holding hands. At the top, in messy crayon letters, "My family." Ryan swallowed hard. "She gave me that last week," Emily said gently. "She already sees us as something more." His voice cracked. "I'm scared." Emily smiled. "So am I." The proposal. The following weekend, Ryan took them to the same cafe where everything began. The same table. The same corner. Lily was confused. Why are we here, Daddy? He knelt down in front of her first. Because this is where something really important started. Then he turned to Emily. His hands were shaking. 6 months ago, you walked into my life as a joke. But you stayed when it became real. People around them began to notice. I don't have a perfect past. I don't have fancy promises. I just have a daughter, a messy kitchen, and a heart that's finally ready again. He took out a small velvet box. And I want to spend the rest of my life choosing you. Not because I need someone. He looked into her eyes. But because I love you. Emily, will you marry us? The cafe went completely silent. Emily laughed through tears. You didn't even say, marry me. He smiled nervously. I'm marrying as a package deal. She dropped to her knees to Lily's height first. What do you think? Lily squealed. Say yes. And Emily looked back at Ryan. Yes. The cafe erupted in applause. Not because it was dramatic. Not because it was perfect. But because everyone could feel it. This wasn't a fairy tale. It was built from loss. From fear. From choosing to try again. As they walked out of the cafe, the same place that once held a prank, Ryan realized something powerful. Sometimes life embarrasses you before it blesses you. And sometimes, the joke turns into the forever.